Dave Show.
Hi, I'm Gene.
And I'm Dave.
And you're watching
the Gene and Dave Show. Well, that was a thrilling way to end part one. Oh, if you haven't seen part one yet, I encourage you to log on to thegeneanddaveshow.com and watch it before you watch this one. Because today, we're going to find out about Terry's motivation for making that parody of Helen Keller. And you want to make sure you watch it first. And then we have one more movie that's like Disruption on steroids. Are you ready for that, Gene?
Oh, yeah. If you say so, Dave.
What is wrong now? You sound so tired.
I am, Dave. I think I got that thing, that Greg's syndrome.
Oh. Once again, Gene, you have no idea what's going on in our world of disruption. Drag syndrome isn't a condition, it's a performance. The epitome of disruption. I tell you what, let's bring Celia, the executive director of Art Spark Texas, in to help explain how artists effectively use disruption to make their points known. Hi, Celia.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm good.
You're good. Did you bring Gene along with you today?
Oh, Gene's here, but he's still having trouble figuring out what disruption is. Even though he saw part one, we got to get him up to speed.
Well, I don't know if I've got that much time. Yeah, that part one was pretty amazing, wasn't it? I just can hardly wait to hear Terry's response as to why she created it and what her muse was behind all of that. So
yeah, I know, me too. But we got to get Gene up to speed. So tell us again how artists effectively use disruption to make their points known.
Well, it's interesting because I think when you talk to a lot of artists, that they don't even really, a lot of them are just making art. And they're not making it out of, advocacy or to make a point, It's just something that's coming out of them because that's what they're feeling at the time. But so often it is disruptive. And by disruption, we talk, that it changes things, that it causes someone to think or feel differently about something. It disrupts a way of being, or it just disrupts your afternoon when you go to the museum and you see a painting that you don't quite understand, but it stays with you. When you go away that night, you think about it or you ponder it and you want to go back and look at it. That's a disruption of sorts because it's disrupted your thinking, the way that you're thinking.
Yeah. And sometimes I think that you don't even mean to cause the disruption, but it just happens. I mean, like you had a really good example of the early days of Actual Lives Austin, where you had trouble finding theaters with ramps, right?
Right, and I have to say though, in that one we were trying to be a little disruptive, but we were in here in Austin and performing, and we had many people with wheelchairs or in scooters who worked with us, and we were at the Doherty Art Center at the Doherty Theater, and in those days, in order to get onto the stage, you had to go down a long hallway, down another hallway, through an art room, into the kiln room, through the kiln room, out the back door, into the back parking lot, across the parking lot, up a wooden ramp, and through a door to get onto the stage.
It sounds like going through the labyrinth would have been easy.
Yeah, and everybody thought, well, what's the big deal? So and it was funny because every year when we were booked it, sometimes we did 2 shows a year, And when I would go and sign the contract, I'd always say, now, you know, we're going to be here. We need to have the ramp. And we'd go out and we'd look at the ramp, and inevitably we'd have to repair the ramp because the water would run off the roof of the building with no gutter right onto the middle of the ramp. So, you know, so as a 400-pound wheelchair rolled up it, it would bow, you know, and and sometimes there was, and the first time when we discovered it, there was actually a hole in the ramp, you know, had rotted through. So they would repair the ramp so that we could make our merry trek down the long hallways and through the kiln room and out into the back parking lot, up onto the stage. And then once you're up on the stage, you're captive of the stage because you had to get off the same way. And of course, so nobody could go to the bathroom or anything like that, you know, because they couldn't unless they wanted to take a flying leap off the stage. So one night when we were in the theater and we were trying to rehearse it and everything, and one of our actors made some kind of a scene about the fact that they couldn't get up on the stage, and you know, how dare they? And so we decided we'd make that part of the play. So when the show opened, the curtains opened and there's the cast, and then we're like, wait a minute, where is everybody? And then 3 of the actors who were wheelchair users came roaring into the performance space, down the aisles, and smashed into the stage and said, we can't get there. And we're like, what? And they're like, and then they were like, yeah, we have to go down the hall, blah, blah, blah. And we were like, well, we're just going to wait for you. So we all just stood on the stage and waited while they did that trek. And it took, you know, 2 or 3 minutes for them to come around and finally get on the stage. Well, the ADA coordinator for the city of Austin was in the audience that night. And the next morning, she made a call and had an appointment set up with the director of the theater. And before we knew it, we had a ramp made, and the ramp exists to this day. And it's all ready for anybody who needs to use it. It's not perfect. It's up the front of the stage, you know, but it's access, and people can get on and off the stage, and other theater companies now use it. So, you know, and I had been trying how this is disruptive is that I had been trying for years to get something, a ramp, something. And all it took was one little moment in a theater production to make all of that happen.
And the right audience members there, right?
Yeah, well, that helped. That certainly helped.
Yeah.
But that was sort of well, we didn't think it was gonna get us a ramp. We had hoped it would, but you know, but still, we knew we had to make a point. And Gene, you were gonna say something?
Yes, I was gonna say that show was a long, long time ago. But I remember Dave and I going to South by Southwest just a couple of years ago when Zach, who was in a wheelchair, was supposed to be up on stage, and they had to carry him from his wheelchair to get him up on stage. So I don't know what it's going to take to wake people up and let them know we need access to every event. And even if we're not going to be up on stage as an actor, to get in some places, they should be accessible so people could get work there, or whatever. But we keep moving along.
We caused a disruption at South by Southwest one year that made for a change too with transportation. We went up and told them we wanted to get on the next transport to one of the other events, and they were like, "Oh, well, we don't have any way to load up wheelchairs into the vans that we have." And the very next year, we were going by there, and they stopped us and said, "We got a van, you want to ride?" So just, you know, by informing people of things, sometimes that can really help us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Gayle Lee, I don't know if you know Gayle Lee. She was one of the Tiny Desk winners for NPR. She's a musician out of Duluth, Minnesota. Very talented musician with a disability, and she now she won't perform in a venue unless the stage is accessible. So she's actually turning down gigs if the venue isn't accessible, because she's decided that this is the only way that people are going to begin to pay attention. And so she's asking musicians and performers to join her in this effort that she's making to make people aware of the fact that most music clubs aren't accessible. Really, most theaters aren't accessible unless they've been built in the last pretty much 10 years. So yeah, so the artist takes on the role of the disruptor, and that's really was sort of the impetus for all of this, because when I was talking with Chris and Jill from DisArt and learning about their story of bringing the drag syndrome folks from London to Michigan, and and what it did to to their town, I thought, well, who knew? And that was not their intent. They were just promoting. They were just bringing a show to town. And what transpired was completely different than what they had intended.
Yeah, and they upset all kinds of people, from the people that lived in the town to some of the politicians. So I can't wait to see what happens. Let's go watch the footage and finish our talk on disruption. Watch part 2 of 2. Here we go.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, that was, when I first saw that film, it's so funny and it's so biting, and just, let's start by just talking about why you made it. Let's just talk about that question first, and then we'll ask a couple other questions. But why this? Why this, Harry?
Well, Helen Keller was the one role model I had growing up. There was no other that I knew, none. And I loved her, but I also found her really oppressive. And that she was just so perfect and so good, and so all of these different things. And
but you also kind of played as a kid. You would play.
Yeah, I used to pretend to be Helen Keller, and I would go. I take my hearing aids off, and I take my glasses off, and I go around outside in the backyard, and I pat around, and I come to the hose, and I do and I just love playing it. But the reason I loved it is because she was a spitting mad fireball until they tamed her. She was like, I just loved that energy. I thought that energy was so wonderful and dynamic and fun. And so I love that energy, and I love the narcissism of that energy. I was just fascinated by it because it was all her all the time. And it was just, but again, that I felt oppressed by the image. And there was a way that I kind of wanted to claim it. And I also wanted to show what people seem to miss often is that the whole sadistic learning process that went on there. Now, as a child, and even as an adult, I appreciate it, because it's how do you take a force that does not have the normal channels of communication? How do you make the force understand how they can exist? So I guess, Chris, what I wanted to do it, and also just because I just felt a savage need to do it. There was just a savage need to do it and pick it up the way you parody things you absolutely adore, but you're trying to make, and I was trying to make points, but I was also just having a lot of savage fun, not just going,
So there was a lot of savage fun. And as a communication professor, I also appreciated the film and tried to get Terry to expand it a little bit.
Yeah, she did that.
In fact, we're sitting in the room that the dining room scene was shot in.
Yeah,
right now.
yeah. And she's the one who said we have to have the dining room scene.
And
We can't just let it be dunking her head in the toilet. And I said, no. Now we have to have a scene in which we throw water on her. So, but also, it's just the fun of playing that, Chris. I mean, you know, the young girl, Jessie Allen McKellar, who played their role, she actually she had epilepsy. And we were very nervous. She so wanted to do this. And we were very nervous about triggering an episode. And think of the things that are done, you know. And she was going, no, that won't happen. I'm going to do this. I want to do this. This is so much fun. You're not going to tell me I can't do it. And we're going, okay. But then again, you asked for it.
I like.
So if anything had happened, it would be tough kid, kid.
And I like to forward 20 years that she is now a filmmaker.
Yeah, she's a filmmaker, and she's so proud of being in that film and having done what she did. And so, but there were, so that's why. But anyway, that's why it was made. You know, those are the reasons why it was made.
Seems so integral to your growing up and your personality and that energy. So, which makes me wonder, who was your intended audience? It's almost you created it for yourself, right? Because it was so much fun. But I'm curious, when you put it out in the world, who was your intended audience?
Somehow I knew reception was going to be the next question.
Well, I want to say that all of my friends, well, you know who, like, I knew that there were, because from Faust, all of my Faust friends, disabled, non-disabled friends, they thought it was a hoot. But my non-disabled friends were a little bit more, should I be laughing? No, I can't help but laugh, but should I be laughing? But my friends with disabilities, well, like Liz Carr, that's what she just thought it was hysterical. You know, she did a review on Ouch when it was we showed it in as you can see, the International Disability Film Festival in London. But Catherine Arnello and Julie McNamara, some of those people that we love, with
who are, by the way, clear disruptors.
Yeah, they're disruptors. They're all disruptors.
They are.
You know, they just thought it was hysterical. You know, hysterical. And so my intended audience were people who were like myself. You know, they had a brush, you know, are with disability, or they had a disability, or they knew people with disabilities, or they also just saw something in that film. Most of the people love that film.
Well, I think you also need to point out that originally it didn't have the Apologia on it.
Oh, yeah.
So
originally,
what
it was
motivated
just like,
that is also important to talk about.
Yeah, because I liked it without the Apologia. But the reason it became with the Apologia wasn't because anybody with a disability got offended at it, although I'm sure a lot of people did. But it was because a caretaker for a person who is with a disability took objection. And it's like, you know, you guys have this because it's like caretakers who take objections with people with disabilities behaving sexually in any way. Or, you know, well, I'm sure we'll get to that. But it's like, it's that there's a kind of an infantilization of that. I mean, how dare you treat someone so roughly? How dare you treat this magnificent film and this terrible, terrible thing with such vile humor? You know, so savagely, with no sentiment. How dare you do that? And so I thought, I almost got into a fist fight with this woman at a party, you know, because again, I thought, and I told her, who the hell are you to lecture me about being deaf? I said, there are so many ways of being deaf, little d all to big D. There are all these variations here, and I have my own. So who are you to tell me what I should be doing or how I should be dealing with this? And so anyway, so I thought, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this to try to bring about a little bit, since I couldn't hit her.
I was in the other room. It was an altercation. The temperature of the house.
I don't do it, but
voice
man,
of the
I
house.
sure wanted to. I mean, I thought, God, insufferable shit. And so I just thought, then I'm going to do it a different way. Because I want you to see what you're imposing, not just upon this piece, but what you're imposing upon people with disabilities, the people that you care for. You know, it's always, oh, you know, I'm just thinking, yeah, that's called for, but it's sometimes like, okay, open up. You know, good, huh? You know, I mean, it just doesn't have to always be shrouded in tears. That's the thing about the people, the non-disabled people, they're always shrouding us in tears. You know, they weep buckets of insincere tears, and then they're pouring it over our heads. I just, yeah. No.
Hyperbole is my middle name.
And they think I'm a soulless demon spawn of the devil.
Well, they don't think that. But the context and who's watching it, one has to be acutely aware of.
I'd love to know what you guys thought of it. What'd you think of it, Jill?
Well, I laughed. From moment one, and it's the sorrowful music. Like the captioning is part of the experience as well. And then she wraps herself up into this the sheet. So from the beginning, it was a farce. Like it was when you're aware of the nuances of sorrowful music, right? You know that it's going to be like you're in for something fun, right? But not everybody may tune into that from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But,
Because I tend to not be the apologetic one. So like if we push something, it's often my colleague Jill who has to say, well, maybe we should do that, because I'm always like, look, if it pushes against you and it makes you angry, then it's doing what it's supposed to do, right? But that, but maybe maybe that wasn't the intent. I mean, you didn't want to anger people, did you? I mean, I'll just ask that. Did you want to anger people?
No, but I think that the Apologia makes other kinds of statements, though, right? Yeah. I mean, who has the right to this kind of humor
or this kind of representation?
Yeah, even the fact that we can't, we sometimes confuse Annie Sullivan with Anne Bancroft. So I think it adds.
And Chris
expands the conversation.
Chris, I think it was that I don't mind offending people. I think it's part of our job as disruptors to do that, because their idea of being offended is like my idea of getting awake, you idiot. So just, you know what I mean? So I don't mind, but what I wanted to be sure of is that they're offended by what I want them to be offended by. Not what I didn't intend them to be offended by. I want to control, in some ways, their response.
Control the offense.
No, I want to control the effect in a way. I do. I mean, I want to control the offense.
Yes,
I do. Exactly. I want to do that. And so the Apologia, in a way, was a way to control that, to get a jump on their indignation. And so that they get indignant, and then all of a sudden they see me signing, and this kind of, and then they discover I can't sign, and then they discover, what all of that. It's, to me, I think it adds a layer again. It adds a different kind of a disruption, because
does it add some authority for your lived? It adds authority for your lived experience.
I think so. I think so, because if they're probably imagining, again, the soulless, heartless spawn of the devil created it, but I want them to know that it's the soulless spawn, deaf, heartless devil who created it.
Well, doesn't that make a difference, though? I mean, who the producers, the directors, the artists are of creating art? Wanting to know who's behind the decisions
Yeah.
that were made around
Yes.
disability and representation.
Yeah. You know, I can't wait until we start talking about drag syndrome, because that is something
Well,
too.
we can transition there now. That's fine. Let's
Can you do that now?
Yes.
I would love that. I would love that. So,
All right, so let's take a look at the video of Drag Syndrome's visit to Grand Rapids, and then we'll come back and chat. Okay.
I think that's the problem. People don't separate them from Down syndrome. I don't think they see them as people. They see somebody with a condition and put it in a box of what they know about Down syndrome. And by doing it, you take away the humanity of the person in front of you. And by doing it, you erase a person, and that's a humanitarian crime.
I loved it so much. We deserve to live as what we love, and we should be allowed to be who we are.
What Ruby said, this is my life, and I want all the people to just back off.
The professional performers, that's who we are.
It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Everybody watch out. Watch out now. I'm ready for a good time, and I came to groove. The whole band's here, and we came to move. Got a fresh haircut and 2 new shoes. We're here all night like we got nothing to lose. I'm coming out the jacket cause we're turning up the heat. I wanna see you clapping when you get up out your seat. It's time to make it happen when we hit these streets. I'm coming in hot and I can't be beat. Watch out now. Baby, watch out now. Watch out. I'm on the move, I'm going up. I'm a man on a mission with no missions, and I'm looking for love. Oh, I'm just looking for love. It's gotta be.
We'd love to say thank you very much for having us, America. Yes. I want to say a very thank you to the DJ and the cast and the people who work here. Thank you much. Good night, everyone.
I'm a renegade and I'm feeling fine. Cutting loose things hard up mount. I'm the real thing, take me on tonight. I'm gonna swing under all these lights so I feel the pressure touching me. Can I like a diamond sparkling? I got that red bull blood in my veins. You can try, but I won't ever be tamed. Oh, I own it and I can own it. I'm the only me and that's how I want it. Let the clock stop.
I just want to say, first of all, the first time I ever saw a clip of Drag Syndrome, and this is when you guys are just going to be bringing in, this is before I saw the complete movie, I was so thrilled. I was just ecstatic about it. First of all, I want to say, and this is the clip and the film itself, it was so full of joy. It was wonderful. And I thought, oh, finally, the lessening of this kind of parental hovering, you know, particularly with people with developmental disabilities, that you have people who are kind and good people who care, but they're not going for a minute going to allow somebody with a developmental disability their autonomy, because they don't believe in that autonomy. You know, so seeing this and watching these the people in Drag Syndrome do drag was thrilling to me on so many counts, in so many ways. One, it was just fun. The drag was so fun. The costumes were great and outrageous. The outpouring of support was marvelous to me. But the camaraderie of it, you know, also the camaraderie and the artistry. You know, the artistry to get those costumes, to get that makeup, to get that attitude. I adored it. And I was so shocked, along with so many other people, when all of a sudden it's being called exploitation, as if it's porn or child abuse or something like that. And that's what got me. The equation from all of those people who protested, from that idiot, that politician, you know, who shut it down. And it was because of the kind of the terminology they were using. It was the same kind of terminology that we would hear from people in Faust, from Actual Life, some of these things, when we're talking about the infantilization of their own desires. And so we're so glad you fought for it. So glad you won the fight. You won it. And you won it in terms of PR and just in terms of itself. The kind of exuberance and also the unexpectedness. Because again, people with developmental disabilities are usually boxed in as to being non-sexual beings who have no kind of autonomy because they really can't think for themselves. And it's up to us, the caretakers, to do all the thinking and feeling for them, you know, as if they were infants. And so your film, for me, it had a happy ending, and I'm so glad. And also just so shocked by the protesters, because it reminded me of what we still face in that regard.
And I would like to add that one of the things I also appreciate is, Chris, you referred earlier to a kind of educational outreach or educational context. And so I loved reading about the addition of the panels that then surrounded and I thought, well, cool, that's wonderful to bring in sort of additional panels and different groups to talk about this. And then I wanted to comment too that I was appreciative of having the link to it on your website.
Yeah.
And you posting there the links to some positive neutral articles and detractor articles.
Yes.
Terry's first little solo show, on the back cover of it had some people liked it, some people didn't. and there she takes very select blurbs, right? to kind of push you should be part of the former group. But I love that context, because it's very interesting to me to immediately read the different perspectives on it and hear the voices. And wow.
But what I love too is that the one thing I loved about the group is that it helps us on our quest to make disability sexy. You know, the way that Crip Cat did, and the way that a lot of stuff from Matt Fraser and other performers over there that do, it helps to make it sexy, because disability isn't considered sexy, you know, and you know, it just isn't. And so I thought, this is sexy. You know,
and then if we take it back to the beginning of our, you know, of our conversation, the mere presence of sexy disabled people is a disruptor.
It's a disruptor, and then some, and then some. I would like to. I really want to do a skit.
Well, I think that's the mark of good disruptive art, is that it spawns other disruptive art, right? And so so I just think that there's a way in which the work that you guys did in the Miracle Worker and what we did, completely different context here in Grand Rapids, but it both are examples that can give people a glimpse of disability in ways that they don't normally get a glimpse of disability. And I think that that's been, for us, transformative. That our work with drag syndrome really started conversations in our city that would never have been started before. So, the disruption became political. And then once that political took over, we really got some great work done.
But not just in our city, but around the country.
Yes, it really, it is. The impact that it's had has been just enormous, just enormous. And the other thing too is, because I think about disruption, it also inspires and goads conversations in the disability community itself, about who are we, what are we, what is, because again, there's people with disabilities can have pre-existing narratives about their own lives, and these kind of disruptions, well, they disrupt those pre-existing narratives, and so they're all of a sudden going, that's not me, that's not me. And that's what I love about this. This is what I love about the whole idea about disruption, but particularly in our communities. The whole thing about disruption, it reminds you too of the pleasure of diversity. How much more fun and alive. The same with theater. One of the things you have to postulate about this kind of diverse theater, this kind of disruptive theater, it's fun, and it reflects life so much more clearly than the kind of theater you see with people with perfect bodies and perfect diction, who can do it, which can be so boring. I mean, it's just like, just so boring. And you see people with different bodies and different ways of speaking, and it's thrilling. And so so I always think that these kind of disruptions and that kind of diversity and that kind of let's get in there and do this also can revive moribund and dying institutions. But these riots and that kind of disruption, but also all of these other disruptions that are going on, it's an effort to remake, and really an effort to remake it in a more fun and wonderful, embracing, compassionate, live, living way. So that's my favorite thing.
Thank you guys so much for being here with us, and thank you all at home for watching. And we hope that we've sparked some disruption in your day, so that you can think more about some of the art and politics that we're talking about today. We want to let you know where to find us. You can find DisArt at disartnow.org. And then where do we find MIckee Faust?
You find it at www.MIckeyFaust.com.
Well, lots of love to you guys, and thanks everybody for watching. And thanks to Celia and ArtSpark Texas for having us as well. This has been great. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. See ya.
And can Mom afford to have help preparing her meals? We know what you're going through. AmeriGroup has a plan for people with Medicaid that helps them get the services they need to live at home. AmeriGroup. Choose us for helping your loved ones live at home. Call 1-800-964-2777.